Open session meeting of the St. John Board of Police Commissioners, Tuesday, March 12th, 2019 to order. The first item on the agenda is item 2.1, the approval of the minutes of February 12th, 2019. Could I have a motion to approve those minutes? Doug, thank you. Gary, thank you, seconder. On the motion, were there any issues that anyone saw that needed to be raised? If not, all those in favor, aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. The adoption of the agenda of the March 12th, 2019 open session meeting is next. Do I have a motion approving the agenda if there's no additions to it?
So moved.
Seconder?
Second.
Thank you. On the motion, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. Disclosure of conflict of interest, if anyone has one. Any conflicts with anything on the agenda, please raise them now. Hearing none, we'll move to item 5.1, which is the consent agenda, the New Brunswick Police Commission 2017-2018 annual report. The recommendation is that it be received and filed. It's in your package. If anyone has any questions, comments, now's the time. It certainly sets out the way the Commission carries out its reports. I don't know if they've appointed any new executive director. There is an acting executive director that I've received correspondence to, and we'll talk about later. So the motion is that it be received and filed.
Yeah, so just a comment, Mr. Chairman. I guess I apologize. I didn't read every line. I certainly scanned down through, and I guess the motion is to receive and file. But should the board, as it has its strategic planning and other sessions, if there's any response that would be worthy, this was sent back. We've received your report. We have a few comments. We have a few questions. I'm not sure that I have any suggestions for those tonight, but that we might want to reflect the relationship with with the New Brunswick Police Commission is an important one, and I just to I guess take that opportunity, maybe if any board members between now and the next meeting do read it line for line and have a few comments, that perhaps we could bring them back and
that's a very good point, Your Worship. I did note that when you look at page 11 and 12, it references the service and policy complaints and lists them by jurisdictions, and clearly, obviously, as one of the larger jurisdictions, St. John has what I would expect a larger share of the number of complaints to the New Brunswick Police Commission, together with Fredericton. Moncton's a different kettle of fish because it's RCMP jurisdiction, and so you would not get those reported to the New Brunswick Police Commission. But it's interesting to see how the various complaints have been categorized and how they've been resolved or are in the process of being resolved.
Yeah, so again, just one more kick at it. I just think it's, in my time on the Commission, we have talked about the relationship between ourselves and the New Brunswick Commission, at times with frustration attached. So again, perhaps as a bit of homework, we could each, and with the Chief's advice as well, and yours, Mr. Chairman, we could review this over the next 30 days, and perhaps it would warrant a letter back to say we've received, we've read, and we have the following comments for you to consider as you continue to search out a new executive and so on.
I think it's a good point, and it may lead into a discussion, maybe not so much with the New Brunswick Police Commission, but certainly within the force as a result of the province announcing that they're doing a police review. So there may be some issues that we need to address. So thank you very much, Your Worship. Any other comments or questions or concerns raised on the New Brunswick Police Commission report? If not, I'll ask for a motion to receive and file. Have someone move it. Thank you, Mike. Seconder. Doug, thank you. On the motion to receive and file, all those in favor, aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. There's no delegations or presentations this evening, and there's no items to be under 7 to be considered separate and apart from the consent agenda. So we'll move to item number 8, Chief, the general correspondence, 8.1.
So for the 8.1 for the month of February, there's no complaints, there's no complimentary correspondences, and there are 3 grievances regularly received and filed.
Thank you. So on the motion, was that just 8.1 or did you do 8.1?
8.1. Yep.
8.1. On the motion to receive and file the internal monthly report, are there any questions on that? I'll ask for motion.
So moved, yep.
Worship, Doug, seconded. On the motion, all those in favor, aye. Any contrary-minded, nay. Motion carried. The item 8.2, Chief.
So this is the monthly dashboard for the organization. I just will point out though for the board, Mental Health Act, again, here we are 2 months in, and we have 37 Mental Health Act files and 77 mental health related calls. Just for comparison, in the meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we are probably 4 times the amount of mental health calls that we have in St. John compared to Kodiak, so just for information purposes.
Thank you. I just know a question. So if you look at calls for service to the Public Safety Communications Center, 4,276 calls in the month of February, and that's 8,900 to date. Is that what that means?
That's right. So
Okay.
for the month of January and February, there's that's right, 8,934 calls, and they are just police calls to the PSCC.
Okay.
I think just on your comment, through Mr. Chair to the Chief, I was at just as a sidebar, I attended an announcement today at Avenue B, which the Chief would be familiar, and others. It's a local nonprofit that supports the fight against hepatitis and AIDS, and hands out drug paraphernalia with the thought of clean supply and so on, but just the numbers are, and again, Chief knows, but man, do I live in a bubble? Like I think I've had a few challenges in my life, and you go spend some time with Julie and her team, and just 10, you would know we're doing some work on some harm reduction. So my point, I guess, in raising it is that as municipal politicians, councils, leadership, and police, fire, and so on, is to continue to drill down into this data and to have conversations about outcomes and scope creep, all the things, Chief, that that you're doing now as a police force that you wouldn't have done. And I just did, one of the numbers today, when it's been a long time, Avenue B used to be 8 St. John, 25 years, I think, at least. They handed out, I think the number was 750 needles in their first year, and Julie was saying how shocked she was. 300,000 needles last year. So, it's not all things are created equally. The social challenges, the economic challenges, and how we as leaders, whether it be police commission, city council, chiefs of police, and others, stay in those tough conversations to pull the onion back and really understand. There's probably lots of money flowing into St. John, but maybe it's not getting to the right people in the right places. And I think likely police officers are being asked to do things that probably aren't police related, as the chief has been bringing us to. So I'm aware, but anyway, they received some federal funding today for a program that they're working on. So maybe we just need to receive a bit more of that those funding if we're going to be asked to do those types of quote unquote non-policing or core. Thank you, Gary. Policing jobs that we're at the table to say somebody's got to be involved or take over the scope of work. But there's an awful lot of challenges in our city that folks are facing. So, thank you.
Thank you. So on the that was 8.2 or 8.2? 8.2.
So, sure. Just one other question. At the last session, we had some discussion about maybe have a year-over-year number. Just say like what it was last year and what you got this year, so we can just sort of identify, is it getting better or worse, or
That was presented at,
I can't remember.
no, I was just thinking like on each month
basis.
Like I just say like if you're presenting
oh,
this and just say
okay, sorry.
have a previous-
Because we never started this dashboard
Oh, okay. Until mid-year.
until when I came here, they didn't have this, so, yeah, it would be a lot of work.
So that's the full year number below each one though, right?
No,
Last year.
That's your
Yeah,
monthly
year to
and
date.
from year to
That's
date.
year to date, yeah.
Yeah,
That's the
so,
2 months.
so we will,
Oh, sorry.
once we get to the right month, then we'll go back, unfortunately,
Sorry.
because.
Did we have a full year last year or not?
No,
No.
no, I came in April and I don't think I.
So you can show me, you can show me
June
months or
maybe
something.
or something
Okay,
like that.
okay.
But it'd just be a lot of work for staff to go back
Yeah.
and make up some months that we didn't.
Put it down.
Sure.
Are there any other questions on the monthly activity report? I'll ask for a motion, if not, then to receive and file. Seconded, Doug, thank you. On the motion, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Contrary, nay, motion carried. Item 8.3 is the audit process. There's no report on that, Chief, but I can't remember what that refers to.
Yeah, so Myra's going to speak to it. It's just about,
External audit?
yeah, about from Kevin Buddy.
Oh, yeah. That's an open session, though, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, we're in open session.
Oh, I'm sorry. you don't need to-
Don't mind the crowd.
The chief put it, he started to charge for the meetings, so nobody's
Oh,
talking
okay.
about
I thought we
it.
were-
Revenue generation, $20 to get in.
Just to recap, sort of what the Commissioner of Finance told us previously, is the St. John Police Force is included in the corporate audit for the city. Our budget is $26 million, so we have a big piece of the pie. And when they go through the audit procedures and testing, we are included. And once the audit is complete, I think they're just going through the interim part now, is when the report's prepared, we'll come back and report to the board on the results.
Perfect, thank you. Any questions? There's no report, so there's no need for a motion on that. Looks like that's all we have on the agenda for open session. So we'll adjourn and take a break and then go back into our closed session.
So moved.